Today's event is an opportunity for us to look back over our achievements over the last 2 years across the whole of Cumbria and the North East, but also to look forward and acknowledge the challenges that we face and reaffirm our commitment to making Cumbria and the North East the best place to live if you have a learning disability and or autism. I hope that Henry Ford would agree that we've demonstrated that we can come together, and we've stuck together through what have been some quite tricky times over the last 2 years. And I hope that what you'll see throughout the course of the day is that we are now successfully working together. Most people in the room will know that in Cumbria and the North East, people spend probably more time in hospital than they would if they lived in other parts of the country. So no matter what your medical condition, you are probably more likely to have a hospital admission in this part of the world than in many others. And the same is true if you have a learning disability or autism. That means that we historically have had a lot of people in hospital beds, usually receiving very, very good care from groups of extremely dedicated staff. However, we came together 2 years ago knowing that that is probably not good enough and recognising that we need to change things. At our very first major event in April 2015, we acknowledged that we need to be less reliant on having people in hospital for their care, and we need to develop much more flexible community alternatives that will support people in their own homes. We know that we need to focus on preventing crisis and making sure that when it does happen, it's managed as quickly and effectively as possible. But more importantly, I think we also recognised then that we wanted people with a learning disability and or autism to have more choice and control and to live much more fulfilling lives generally. Hospitals are certainly not homes, and it's time we stopped treating them as if they were. And it's time we delivered the type of care and support that people really needed to keep them in their own home. So what's our story so far? When we set out on this journey, we were very clear that there were some standards and principles that we wanted to adhere to. Probably none of them more important than that of co-production. We wanted to make sure that people with a learning disability, autism, their carers and families were actually part of designing the future care and support that they needed, and weren't just very passive recipients of that care. We've had some great confirm and challenge provided throughout this work, and you'll hear more about that as the morning goes on from people like Kelly and Geordie, who sit on our Transforming Care board. That board has overseen lots of different work streams, including one which focused on the implementation of a different community model of care. We know that we need to change the care and support in the community first and foremost, in order to make sure that people who are in hospital can be discharged, and equally importantly, don't then get admitted back into hospital. Initiatives like the support of outreach team are going to be really important in trying to make sure that people who are discharged get really intensive support at times when they need it. We've had a real focus on our workforce too. These committed members of staff are day in, day out providing care and support in our hospital environments and in the community. But we've put a great deal of energy behind things like positive behavioural support, and we've trained literally hundreds of staff in a different way of trying to approach the problems of people with a learning disability. We've also spent a lot of time investing in tomorrow's leaders, and by that we mean future leaders who have expertise by experience, and again you'll see more of that throughout the day. I believe that shows a real commitment in this part of the world to making sure that co-production is not just words and we aren't just paying lip service to it. Equally, our work on advocacy and prevention and how we've reshaped our whole approach to that is something we're really proud of. So please take time to look at the stall you'll see today. We've also had a launch of our accommodation strategy because we know that where people live is really important in shaping how they behave and how society thinks about them. We've tried also to work with providers who are providing care and support to make sure that they are really focused on the needs of an individual. And that then goes to the heart of what I think is one of our biggest challenges. That is changing the culture within our own services, with individuals, and throughout society as a whole. We really believe that people with a learning disability and or autism have a really positive and important role to play, and how we view them is vitally important to that. We have done some really important work in this area, but there's definitely more to do. Similarly, our community model has had a good start, but we know we need to up the pace of how we are really rethinking what we need to do in terms of a community model of care. Yes, we still need to get people out of hospital, but we need to make sure that those people who are caring for them in the community have the right skills and support. Our care and treatment reviews. We know that these can be a really important, pivotal moment in the lives and journeys of people, and we don't yet really maximise their potential. This could be an opportunity to really help avoid hospital admissions, provide much greater fulfilling support for individuals, and we're all trying to rethink how care and treatment reviews can become a really effective conversation. The journey that we're on from Cumbria and the North East is a long one. We have come a great distance in the last 2 years, but this work will continue way beyond the life of the Transforming Care programme. We need to remember that people are much more than just receivers of service. How we view people with a learning disability and or autism will speak volumes of what we think about them as members of our community. While we've made great strides, we need to maintain our resolve and focus in making sure we meet our aspiration of making Cumbria and the North East the best place to live when you have a learning disability and or autism. I know we're all committed to meeting that aspiration, and I know that collectively we have the will and the ability to do that. So, good luck.